So nothing goes in the suitcase till the night before. You've got an itinerary and you come up with a colorway. Does everybody know what a colorway is? Colorway, for instance, would be black with tan, or black as a base with some accent colors. All right? End of discussion. Now, I have customers who say, I don't want to be in the same clothes all the time in all the pictures, okay? And it's more about the pictures of the trip, okay, than it is about anything else for some people. And I have 2 words for those people, okay? Photoshop. Fix the pictures. All right? Absolutely, that is the world's worst reason, but I hear it day in, day out in the store. But again, itinerary, check the weather, 1 colorway, all right? And nothing in the suitcase till the night before, ever. Now, once you have it in the suitcase, a couple issues. Number 1, there's 2 different types of travel. There's hit and run travel and long term. Hit and run. You're here one night, there the next night, there the next night, there the next night, okay? What ends up happening, and all of us do on hit and run travel, is by the end of the 2nd stop, because traditionally, again, suitcases are clothing lasagnas. You lay your stuff in there, okay? You take a standard suitcase, you take a look at a standard suitcase, all right? Okay, take a look at a standard suitcase. People lay clothes in like this. What happens when you're done? You lift it like this. Now look at this audience. You guys know what gravity's about, okay? So, all right, but, oh, sorry, but seriously, okay, gravity's gonna take its toll on it, and then it's rolling, right? Since it's rolling, there's vibrations that's gonna enhance the gravity, all right? So what ends up happening is stuff migrates, okay? If it's a check bag, get tossed by the airlines, stuff moves even more. Okay, day 1, you get to where you're going, you take stuff out, you put it back, and other stuff in, and everything else. Day 2, okay, you do the same thing. By the end of night 2, before you leave for morning 3, all of us do the same thing. We take our suitcase, empty it on the bed, refold, repack. Those days are done. You guys are going on vacations. You don't need to work this hard. Okay, number 1. Number 2, those of you who've ever had the TSA go through a suitcase, you have to go through the whole thing. Because the way they work is they do what we call the wafer. They fold, they go like this if they're looking for something and they don't find what they're looking for. They take a wafer of clothes and put it here. Then they go through the next layer, tuck around, look, so they don't see what they're finding. Another wafer of clothes goes here until they find what they're looking for. Once they've gone through the whole thing, how do they put it back? The glump. They take 1 glump of everything, shove it in, tuck it, zip it, and it's on its way. Okay? It's a nightmare. Wouldn't it be nice? Remember I said to you at the beginning, you're good to TSA, TSA is good to you? All right? When it comes to packing, that is so true, it's unbelievable. All right? So, we have the basics out of the way. We've eliminated a lot of the clothes. We have 1 colorway. We have an itinerary. We've got the clothes laid out exactly the way we need. Now we're going to pack them. Everything goes into a container. Now, if you're long term, the other thing is this. Have you ever noticed when the TSA, even the TSA agents, when they're going through your carrying, have you ever noticed they have latex gloves on? Okay? As a guy, when somebody puts latex gloves on, I get a little nervous. But seriously speaking, okay, they put them on for their protection, not yours. Okay? So, remember one thing. They have just gone through somebody's suitcase who's coming home from a vacation. All their clothes have schmutz on them. Schmutz is now on the gloves. Dirty underwear, everything, okay? Next suitcase in line is yours. Okay? He's still got that same pair of latex gloves on. He's going through your stuff. This is not a pretty picture. Okay? All right? So that's one issue. Issue number 2 is, let's say you're a long-term travel, you're somewhere for a week or 2. You don't want to live out of the suitcase, so what do? You take your clothes out and put them in the drawer, right? Same schmutz that's on those gloves is in that drawer. They have never cleaned those drawers, no matter what. All right, but the easy thing to do is if you put everything in containers, A, they're not touching it. B, they can see into your suitcase. C, your stuff doesn't migrate. So the types of containers that are out there that are made just for travelers. The First one most people are kind of aware of is what's called the space bag. You guys have seen this on the infomercials, right? But the ones you see on the infomercials, they vacuum. They have a vacuum that sucks it out. These are compression packers. They're made specifically for travel. The way these work is they zip back and forth a couple times. Then you put them on a hard surface like a end table, a coffee table, and no matter what you want, or the floor, and you push the air out of the one-way valve on the bottom. You run your fingers along the bottom. Now your clothes are sealed tight. They don't get any more wrinkled in here than not in here. All right. So the thing is, though, these are compression packers. My wife's Jewish. She doesn't vacuum at home. If you think she's taking one with her, forget it. All right. So these are the ones you squeeze the air out of. The next type of container is they make a whole bunch of different types of cubes, both half size and full size, and they're both single and double sided. Good thing about the double sided is there's a divider between the two that will float all the way to one side or the other. So depending on the volume that's in there, it will equalize itself. Notice everything's got visibility so that you can see what's in there, TSA can see what's in there. All right, this is the same piece I just showed you, only twice the size. This is the single version. They make pouches for shoes. They make small cubes. They make this one here, which is called a tube cube. All right, I have a specific use I use this for that I kind of like. All right, and then the best of all pieces is called the packet folder. The packet folder is really a cool item. I'm going to put this on the floor for a second. Don't I wish I had invented this? The reason the packet folder is so cool is even us guys can do it. You know why? No directions, just pictures. Okay? All right? The way this works is really simple. You literally take the garment. There's a stiffener built in the bottom, and you have a stiffener at the top, which is your folder form. You lay your garment down like this, put the form over it, and follow the instructions on the pictures. Garment folds like this, folds like that. You put it in here, slide that out. Now you're going to fold the next garment. All right, you get 10 to 12 garments in here. All right, and oops, I'm making sure I'm keeping you awake. Thank you. Okay. For slacks, it works the same way, only you just fold it in thirds. Put it in the center like this, fold over and over. Put it this way and slide it out the other way. Now, if you got 8 or 12 garments in here and you want to get to number 3, you put this under number 2, lift up, take what you want out, slide it back down. All right, this goes on top right here. After you're done, there's a stiffener in the bottom, there's a stiffener in the top, there's visibility on all sides. Holds everything in place. Since there's a stiffener on both sides, you can put this in a tumble dryer for 30 hours. Everything can come out looking like it does right now because it's like a baby in a papoose. It cannot move. Everything is wrapped in there, and it's got visibility so TSA can see into it. So now that you've got everything in containers, no matter what it is, nothing will migrate, everything that needs to be neatly in there so it cannot wrinkle and it cannot move. Because what happens is the minute stuff moves in a suitcase is when it wrinkles. And I have a lot of people say, oh, I've always done a really good job with the bags from the cleaners. That is the biggest pile of you-know-what that you ever see. Because when you take, anybody ever taken one of those bags from the cleaners and folded it back on itself in half, you might as well have Vaseline on your clothes because it slides like this. In a suitcase, every time the suitcase vibrates or that you turn clothes, you move like this. So if you want wrinkles, you put it in that. The other problem with plastic bags from the cleaners is that's what ruins more zippers on suitcases than anything else because it's so thin, it's like a membrane. All zippers on suitcases are nylon. Teeth go together like this. If you get a piece of that plastic in there, you will never see it. The minute the suitcase is hit, and if you ever been at baggage claim and you watch somebody's suitcase going around, the zipper sliders are together with a lock on it, and both sides of the zippers open, they pack with those plastic bags from the cleaners. Because the minute it's hit, they just slide apart. The teeth just slide apart. It acts as a lubricant. All right, if you want to put something in between layers of clothes, use white tissue or draw out body moisture. If you put clothes in those cleaner bags and you've worn them once, within 48 hours, you're breeding mold and mildew from body perspiration on the inside of those clothes. All right. So for every reason, those are the worst thing in the world to use. You want everything in a container that has visibility and you can get to. Now, how do you pack this so it all makes sense? That's the next issue. Okay. So that stuff doesn't get messed up. TSA likes you, and you're not repacking ever. First of all, home base is where the wheels are on the suitcase, right here. That's where gravity takes everything, is right here to the bottom of this case. Okay? So what you want to do is put something there, and since all the wheels protrude into the case, you want something that will squish there and create a surface for you to pack on above it. So I go ahead and I take the tube cube full of underwear and socks, and I put it right down here in the corner at 45 degrees. Does everybody see that? Oh, it's at 45 degrees right here? So when the case is like this, it's still 45 degrees. Then I take the other containers that I have packed. And everything is in here, as you see, at 45 degrees. Last thing that goes in and goes on top of all your clothes is shoes. If you read anything published by the TSA, they ask you to put shoes on top of your clothes because it's the hardest thing for their x-rays to get through. So if you have a 45-degree wedge down here, you have a 45-degree wedge up here, which is absolutely perfect to put the shoes in. All right? You close the suitcase up. Ready to catch? All right? And what happens, gravity is working for you, not against you. Everything's still at 45 degrees. Gravity is helping you. All right? The beauty of the whole thing is, TSA sees something and they want to go into your suitcase. Issue 1, they see a shape. They know what shape they're digging for. They don't have to go through the whole suitcase to get to the shape. They can see it. You're good to TSA. TSA is good to you. They see the shape, they pull the item out. They go through it, they see what they need to see. They will always put it right back in because it took them 15 seconds to go through your suitcase instead of 4 minutes. And they've got 100 suitcases they have to go through today. Okay? All right? So, the other thing is, when they open it up, they have a file cabinet. All right? They're not looking at layers, they're not pulling stuff out, they don't have to mess it up. It's right there. They look at the whole case, they're opening it up, there's everything right there that you can see. And if they're looking for something, they know exactly where it's sitting. Okay? All right? The other thing is this. You get to your hotel, you want your shirts, you know they're in here, you pull it out, take the shirt out, put it back. All right, you know where your socks and underwear are, you take the container out, you put it back. So on hit and run travel, you never repack. Everything is right there. All right, long-term travel, you take the containers out, put them in the drawer, leave your garments